my face. Very symbolic of the windy change that's blowing at this moment. And it's a very brisk, crisp, sunny, autumnal day. And I just thought I'd just say a quick hi to everybody. No, it's not first light. My alarm didn't go off, so I actually missed first light. But here we are on the Ramby Hills. My music playing rather loudly, so I can't hear myself speak here. I can just barely walk, to tell you the truth. A bit of an injury to my right leg, but that's another story. And I just want to let everybody know that the Matthew James Medium Late Show on MixLR is on its way. MJMFM is going to be firing itself back up, going back on the airwaves in the next couple of weeks. I've got a new format, I've got new ideas. As always, I've got new ideas. We never seem to actually go anywhere for certain people. Those that are lucky get all the luck, get all the attention, and doesn't necessarily mean when they get the attention, when they get the look that they're doing the right thing. It's just that their skills at manifestation might be better than other people's. And this is what really concerns me, as always, with the psychic world. All that glitters is not gold, and I'm visualising this mountainside with a lot of glittery, shiny, golden pieces, and you've got the onlookers and the passers-by picking this up and going, look at this wonderful piece of gold that I've got here, look at this wonderful piece of gold, and they forget about fool's gold, they forget about iron pyrite, and they're picking up the imitations, they're listening to the imitations, and really it's making a real mockery of the spirit world. And I know the inhabitants of the other world, spirit world, are somewhat jaded and somewhat angry. Angry, that's a human emotion, but that's the emotion that they generate in me anyway. They're somewhat angry about what is actually happening in the world at this time. All the charlatans, all the masqueraders, all the wannabes, all the could-be's, all the might-be's, who are declaring they communicate with the other worlds. And it is not the case. There's very few at this time. Probably 10% of those who claim actually do it what they claim, and that is the real sad thing here. But I'm not going to dwell on that reality. Instead, I want to just sign off really and do a little bit of walking, get myself really woken up, really charged up for the day, really tidied up for the day, so I can speak to you guys later about other things. But this is just a short video saying good morning from Matthew James on the Ramby Hills. We will be speaking very soon, or I will be speaking very soon again to you. Bye for now.
And interesting 5 weeks since I was last in this peaceful, wonderful place. I've been to the UK for 3 weeks. Now that was 2 weeks ago, and last 2 weeks is absolutely incredibly flown by. So here I am, back on the Ramby Hills, back getting the exercise, getting the photographs, getting the fresh air.
Hi everyone again. Just got the inspiration to talk about the dweller on the threshold just briefly. Who's heard of the dweller on the threshold? Who knows what the dweller on the threshold is and the implications of the dweller on the threshold? Well, the dweller on the threshold effectively is the scariest demon that you will ever encounter. It's a manifestation of all your own fears, all your own failures, all your own human vices, traits and failures. And what the dweller on the threshold represents is that part, that aspect of yourself, that shard of yourself that you must pass and cross before you go into samadhi or you go into eternal bliss. So the dweller represents your faults, your failings, and everything that really needs to be healed. It's the lesson maker, it's the cruelest aspect of yourself, it's the part that needs to be assimilated and needs to be removed from from your psyche in order to lose your humanness. And it is a scary prospect to deal with the dweller on the threshold. It is a spiritual theory. There's no actual physical proof that the dweller on the threshold exists. And as with anything, it is symbolic and it is open to personal interpretation. The dweller on the threshold can take many forms. It can be the sweetest friend or sweetest companion in the back of your mind until you learn of its true nature and you realise what a devious, dangerous being. It's barely a being, it's a consciousness, but it's got limited consciousness that you will ever meet. So you adventurers out there, you spiritual adventurers out there who think that you've achieved, arrived, attained, if you've not met the dweller, you've not arrived. It is, they say, in a place called Diath, the abyss on the Kabbalah. It has to be crossed in order, it has to be crossed, it has to be faced, and it has to be dealt with before you move on or you go further. It defeated Aleister Crowley. His dweller on the threshold defeated him. So it is not an easy prospect when somebody who, with all that knowledge and all that enlightenment and all that information, albeit dark, albeit negative, it was destroyed by his own creation. And it is your own creation, the dweller on the threshold. Woe betide anyone watching this video who scoffs at these words and thinks they've arrived, because at any time the dweller can walk into your mind with its sweet, sickly, convincing voice. And it's there supposedly as your best friend, as your best ally, as your best reference library to the occult. It has knowledge, it has your knowledge, and it will turn that information against you to deceive you. But it's always a test. It is always a test with the dweller. There's never anything too much that we can't overcome. So the level of the dweller and the power of the dweller is slightly less than your ability. So you are able to overcome the dweller. But woe betide anyone who defies and thinks that sweet, sickly voice, or that helpful voice in the back of the mind is an ally. It is not. It's very hard to shake off as the dweller. It's very devious as the dweller. It works with the separate self, the separate selfish self, the false self, to take you off the path. But again, it is just a test. So that's my take on the dweller of the threshold. Plenty of information on the internet about the dweller, but until you've experienced it personally, that is just theory on the internet. It's always best to speak from understanding, which is from experience, from personal experience, which is all that I ever do to people. I talk from experience, my experiences, my 30 odd years as a professional, my 40 odd years as a mystic, a person who walks in the both worlds. I'm being scoffed at, ignored, ridiculed by those who are controlled by their ego, their separate self, perhaps their dweller. And it is not up to me to shine and force people to listen to me. It's up to people to realise themselves. And I may have the whole world against me, but that changes nothing. I've had the knowledge and the understanding, the experience. The 30 odd years of experience counts for a lot in this field. I'm still learning. I'm still coming across new things because you constantly learn. You're constantly evolving. So it's impossible to say that remain static. To remain static, you go stagnant. Look at the river. Look at the river that loses its flow. It goes stagnant. it is always best to be the flowing river, and that is evolvement, that is growth, and it is part of my learning curve at the moment, the way that people react to me, the way that I react to them, and the way really that the world is panning out. And I know my own dweller is there in the background giving me harsh lessons. I always know when I've been knocked back. I always know when I've done something wrong. I always know what my punishment is. And I'm currently in a punishment state. And I have acknowledged my mistake. It's not what I've said to somebody, it's how you say it. It's the effect that you have on someone. And it's nothing drastic, nothing major, nothing scandalous. It's just maybe my dweller thinks that I should have a different approach to the world, a slight different approach to the world. So yes, the dweller on the threshold is a fearsome demon. I say demon, I don't say demon. There is a distinct difference. Demon is steeped in Christianity and Catholicism and bullshit. Demon represents manifestations that at one time may have walked the earth plane. Demon are not fearsome or to be feared. I will leave you with that thought, because then we're going, he mentioned the dweller as a demon as not a living thing. Then he's talking about demon as perhaps a living thing. I shall leave it at that point, my friends. And thank you for watching Matthew James on the Urambi Hills, having a little soapbox moment again. Leave you with the wonderful sunshine, and I will speak to you guys again.
Okay, rune cast for the day. Here's the runes. Well, the staves. Just get an extra one. There we go. Rune staves. Just gonna manifest. Pull something to me, and I'm just gonna drop these runes down on the ground. There you go. And we have a pattern. We have a pattern, folks. The rune of the day. You can see the clear pattern that has been formed. Looking at the key one there, it looks like a doorway. There's the door frame here. It's doorway, which in Celtic terms represents the oak, represents the growth of the acorn. Now remember the acorn that I was talking about in a previous video? Well, this represents the doorway, the manifestation of that acorn, the growth of that particular idea. And I'm looking at the pattern there, and it's a very funny. It looks like the word hi, hello. It's a welcoming doorway. This is a welcoming opening that is being manifested at this moment in time. It's pretty clear casting to me. There's also interesting shapes forming within that pattern there. It's all about manifestation. It's all about what is represented by that doorway, a forthcoming doorway, a doorway that is approaching, that is open, a threshold that is going to be crossed. There's actually no threshold. If you look, there's no threshold on the doorway. It's quite an inviting pattern, so we've got to be wary. We were talking about the dweller on the threshold, and we come up with this doorway and this high, this welcoming high. It could be a deception, but then again, it could be the doorway that we're looking for. Only time's going to tell, and only the true self will be able to actually discern whether it is a doorway and an opening that has to be crossed. And
It's I, Matthew James, intrepid, spiritual, mystical wanderer, and I have been through the doorway, and I see a new version of the old scene, a combination of the new world and the old world, and the merging of the two, and the understanding that both can exist with each other, can work with each other and merge into a new tree. a new tree there perhaps. So many have lost their way without realising they've lost their way. Nobody has pointed out to them or made them aware of their errors. When I was at the point that they are at 20 odd years ago, there was no internet, there was no Facebook. The only way that you could advertise your trade was by word of mouth, by newspaper. So the effects of social media on trainee wannabe mediums and clairvoyance in training is very significant. They're at a point where nobody can tell them that they're wrong, but they don't realise they're wrong. They don't know their errors. Their ego is driving them to a point where, let's just say, the dweller on the threshold is licking its lips and it is gathering up all this ammo to fire back at them at a later point in their life. And there is I, Matthew James, who has been there, who's got the understanding, who's waiting here on the mountain. And is there a single voice saying to Matthew James, how did you do it? How did you get through this? No, neither will there be until the separate ego has been sorted. Bye for now.